Let's see here. I see Namra in the chat. You changed your screen name, Herman. What's going on? It says, "What's good, peeps? What's good, G?" And peeps that will arrive soon. Just getting in here, and I'm picking back up with that converting issue 1 of Morningstar to more of a mobile-friendly format. So I'm just figuring out where I want to place the lettering, and it's an interesting challenge trying to keep the reformatting to a minimum. And I think it's funny. I'm picking up right where Herman says I didn't change my my screen name. I think YouTube did it. I don't know. That's weird. I have there's an alternate version of my screen name that isn't somebody creating a fake account. It's still linked to my account, so I can log in it. But there's an alternate version of me, and I don't know where it came from. And I see Gary in the chat. Gary Hodges of Dinosaurs versus Mars Bots. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you too, man. How you doing? In here, just doing some reformatting. Yeah, Herman says it might be because he's on his Windows 10 machine. Yeah, it's funny that I'm jumping right where I left off at the area. It's like I'm not warming up to anything. I'm picking up right where there was a problem, which was the reformatting of this this page, deciding how to break up this long panel. And I'm trying to see if there's a way I can do this where I don't have to reletter. But I think part of it is that I think I'm going to have to reletter no matter what. And then part of it is that I'm actually wondering whether the page will work better if I allow there to be a little bit more dark in the panel, the space below it, behind it. Let's see here. I don't know. I'm keeping the ratio the same, the proportions of the screen. I'm just trying to decide whether I want this to be a little bit longer. Maybe if I go up a tiny bit. Let's try this and see how it, well, because the whole point is that I don't want to
change this size. I don't want the text to change scale, to go up and down in size. By the way, Herman, I didn't know if you were planning to jump in. I didn't post the StreamYard link before streaming like I usually do. I will toss that in the Discord server in case you decide you want to hop on. Let me find this here. Oh, wow, I don't even have Discord open. So what happens when you take a week off from streaming? You get all discombobulated. Plus, along with the, I've had a busy work week. I skipped a week for the live stream, and I had that in-person figure drawing session, which the attendance was really small. I only had a couple of students, but it went really well. It was a very receptive audience, and they seemed very, pleased to be, with the way that I was explaining my process for constructing the figure. So I have another session that I'm going to be doing in December. But this first one, it went well. But like I said, it was a small turnout, which I think was actually good because I was pretty nervous about it, which my wife told me, why are you nervous? It's just do what you do on your live stream, except in front of, real people. So it shouldn't have been that big a deal. But anyway, hang on. Let me get this link in the Discord server. Yeah. Yes, because watching me type, the only thing less exciting than watching me type is watching me type on a screen that you guys can't see while I'm, doing back end stuff. Let's see here. I see Amar is in the chat. How you doing, Amar? Good to see you, man. He says, what are you working on today? And he said, it's always fun teaching. You know what? I do think teaching is fun. I just have not had a lot of practice with teaching it in person. And I think when it comes to figure drawing, I've studied with so many artists who really feel like they've mastered the craft. Like that when I'm teaching, I think about the fact that I'm not as good as the people that I've studied with. I'm not as good as the people who taught me. Like even now, I'm still nowhere near as good as they are. And that imposter syndrome of that fact, that's what was messing me up. So it was fun. I'm glad I did it. It was receptivized. It was a good time, but it was, that was kind of challenging me. And I see Band 7182 is in the chat. Hello, Band. Hopefully you don't do anything to get banned here. I don't know what got you put in the timeout box, but welcome. Thank you for joining the live stream. Oh, and Amar, you asked what I'm working on. I'm back to chopping up issue 1 of Morningstar to try and see if I can make it a more mobile-friendly experience. And I was on the last 2 panels of this current page before switching to the next page I'm going to do. So that is what's happening right there. Let's see here. James is in the chat and he says figuring something out. So yeah, that's what I was just going over. And I see Dylan is in the chat and he says, how did the class go? I watched your interview with Josh and Scott. You did in like 2021, 2022 last night and enjoyed it. Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's worth going back into the archives. I mean, Scott and Josh and Corey, they've done so many great interviews. There's tons to go back to. You can always have a good time watching their old episodes. The class went well. It was very small attendance. It was just a couple of students. but but it was a very, very receptive audience. One of the guys that was there is a guy who goes to the figure drawing, the uninstructed figure drawing workshop that I usually attend. So he had seen that. Oh wait, no, now I remember why I have to take the lettering off, because that. Whoops, what is this? Hang on, I just want to make sure. All right, I am actually going to have to copy the lettering from these pages. Well, you know what? Screw it. If I'm going to have to re-letter, I'm going to have to re-letter. That's just going to be how it is. So let's bring this down. Hang on. You know, the weird thing is I can talk and draw at the same time, but when it comes to talking and doing design work at the same time, there's certain things where I need my brain just to do like the shortcuts and the keystrokes. And it's kind of like, oh wait, I can't talk and do this at the same time. All right, let me give myself a little bit more space. That might be what I need. No, I'm basically realizing how much space I'm going to need for the dialogue here, or at least ballparking how much space. And then I'm going to try doing what I just did there, right? What I'm doing is I'm taking this whole page and I'm just pulling out the frame that I made and masking it, and then doing it for the same thing with the other side of the panel, masking that. So now I've got those two slices that make up that tier, and the splits are overlapping in the same way that the red and the blue frames are overlapping. These two splits are overlapping, so that when you go from one panel to the next, you'll see a little bit of what came before, or what's coming next versus what came before on these two. And now I have to go find the file that has the separate AI, just the editable text, so I can drop that into each panel. But okay, so let's see here. Herman says, that doesn't mean you're not a teacher, bro. You have the teaching chops. I'm not that good at that. I can show you what I'm doing. I can show you what I'm doing, just not good at explaining it. I'm so much of an introvert. By the way, well, wait, hang on. I'll come back to that, because Amar just has something I can answer real quick, which is, didn't catch what you were working on again. Is that part of a new book? And it is not. It's just the very first issue of Morningstar. And the reason why I am chopping this up for mobile is because the new book, I'm planning to try and launch that on Instagram and Substack first. And I'm going to try and design the comic to be read mobile. Like, I'm trying to find a middle ground between stuff that's mobile but will still transfer to being in print. And I realized that, as opposed to trying to figure out how to do that from scratch, I thought that I would learn something by taking this first issue of a book that I've already completed and trying to adapt it. And by seeing what works and what doesn't, that would then inform how I build the pages for the new comic. So this is sort of like an experiment that will help support developing the new comic. But what I was going to say was, Herman, I don't know if I ever told you my theory on being an introvert, which is that I myself very much consider myself an introvert as well. And hang on, gotta find a. Here we go. This is what I need. I'm curious whether the screen is only showing. Okay, it is showing the other page. So I've got the template with just the text that's in here. I can grab these. So I consider myself an introvert as well. And the way that I handle it, particularly like hanging out with you guys and chatting, is you would think as somebody who's an introvert, I would absolutely not want. Why is this not scaling up? Hang on a sec. What I need is to just scale corners and effects. It should scale the font as well. I think there's something weird in my my preferences where I don't have it set to increase the font size when I scale things up. And scale corners, strokes, content aware. Yeah, for some weird reason, when I was trying to enlarge, just dragging that font to make it bigger, it wasn't increasing the font size. Anyway, I try to treat. This sounds really weird, and some people have heard me say it before, but I try to treat you guys who are listening right now like the voices in my head, you know? Like we all have an inner running monologue where we ask ourselves questions or, we think about this and that. And my approach for dealing with the fact that we may, in talking to people in real life or talking to people online, this whole thing of live streaming, the way that I tricked myself mentally into being like, look, it's fine, you just do whatever you're going to do, is thinking about you guys as just a voice inside of my head. All right, that does not look like what I was hoping it would look like. The whole overlapping. Which leads me now to wonder why the hell I made these boxes down here if that's not working. All right, well, either way, I'm going to have to figure this out. But anyway, I was just going to mention, the only reason why I brought that up, Herman, is because you mentioned being an introvert. And every time I hear other artists talking about being introverts, and they seem to think that I am not an introvert. But that's the thing. There's most people think of introverts as being shy, and that's not what introverts are. I mean, some introverts are shy, but generally introverts are people who are drained by being around people, and extroverts are people who are energized by being around people. You have an extrovert and you put them in solitary, that can be like a punishment like hell for them. Whereas you take an introvert, put them in solitary, they're like, give me some puzzles to work on. Or you know what? I'll just sit here and think. I'm good. Let me just stare out the window. I happen to be a introvert who isn't shy. So talking and interacting with people, I'm completely fine doing it. But the longer I do it, the more it drains me. And when that tank gets to zero, I shut down. I'm just like, can't deal with people no more. And I usually will just verbally I will just excuse myself, say, pardon me, guys, I have to rest, or whatever it is. I have to rest, I have to do something else, or I just, whatever. I'll just politely say, okay, I'm done with the situation. I got to go. And I go be by myself. So let's see here. Amar said, the police, one of my favorite police songs, voices inside my head. And Dylan says, I'm a voice in Jeremy's head. Godzilla, Nightwing, Greek mythology is cool. Love myself. I can get through this. All right. See, no, I like that. Very, very positive. You dropped a couple of things that you're into, a couple of things for me as well to help me through my day. I appreciate the support, Dylan. Positive voices in my head. James says, I went to Bakersfield Comic-Con yesterday. So I showed some of my drawings to Bob Hall, an artist who worked on the Avengers, and he said I have talent. That is really, really cool. That's awesome, man. It is always nice when you hear encouraging things from artists that you respect and admire. And it sounds like it's a fun time. I haven't been to a comic convention in a couple of years now. So hopefully, once I get back on track with actually producing comics, I will be able to make a little bit more time to a little bit more time for conventioning. All right. So what I'm going to go back to here, let me get rid of this. So really, I need to come back to this little area where I'm slicing the panels up. And reassess how much space each of these is going to be. So maybe this will just be 2 panels. First off, how is this so tall? I'm looking at this. I'm trying to decide. I can't even just figure out how I decided this particular panel height. See the panel height, width, it's 1080. Oh, this was just a suggested. I had like a document I pulled up that had a suggested Instagram image size. So let's keep the width the same and just bring the height down a little bit so I have a little bit of room. And it probably makes more sense to start from the back and work forward. So let's say that that's panel. Yeah, so it's just these 2. Like this. Okay. That, I think, may work. So Amar says, oh, I've done this for Webtoons before. I have a template for this, and I have an IG template as well. And he said, I'd used this back when I created my other alias IG account for the art I was doing for NFT stuff a while back. He says, I was an introvert and then became an extrovert. So now I can go back and forth between the two. You're ambivertrovit as opposed to ambidextrous. I don't know what the proper way to phrase that is, what the proper word would be. Let's see. He says, doing public speaking in class, runway, improv, a bit of theater helped me get out of that. All right, those sound like some good exercises. Yeah, I mean, I've done public speaking in the past. And again, like I said, I've done the teaching was not about the public speaking. The teaching was about the fact that the people who have done what I'm purporting to do it so much better that it was more about imposter syndrome than me being nervous. But yeah, I think all the things that Amar said there, any type of activity that gets you up in front of people will help if overcoming public speaking or shyness or being an introvert is something that you're interested in. I think all those things are very helpful. All right. So now let's just dump this and that. Hang on. So it'll be, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 panels. And we'll see how they read strung together. But yeah, I can see now the template that I had in my file here was for portrait Instagram posts versus stories and reels. I know I could just design everything to be square and then just do everything in square 6-panel grids, but I still hadn't really decided whether I wanted to go 6-panel grid or 9-panel grid. But in the conversations I had with you guys kind of made me really give 9-panel grid some strong consideration. So we'll see. And that's part of the experiment here is, trying out stuff when I don't know for sure what I want. Let's see here. So let's just edit that text a little bit. Now, it would make life easier if I just made this text black and put it down in this large black field at the bottom, the same way that I have the text at the bottom of the last panel is, white on black. But I like the transition from black on white text to white on black text. Like it feels like it reinforces the transformation of this story from something of creatures that were in the light and then forced to go move into the darkness. Let's see here. Amar says, I would say I have learned to be a chameleon depending on the environment that appeals to my extroverted side. Yeah, I would say I am more of a chameleon, like in that sense. I'd like to think that I'm an introvert who has learned to communicate well with others, both in terms of just not seeming like I'm introverted, and then also when I bump up against the limits of my comfort, being able to express that in a way that isn't like freaking out or being rude and just simply telling people, "Excuse me, I need to do this because these are kind of my boundaries." And being able to explain your boundaries without just going off on people, really handy life skill. Mm, I knew there was a word. Thank you, Dylan. Ambivert. Ambivert. That's somebody who can switch back and forth between introvert and extrovert. Thank you. Oh, and Amar says he just looked it up and that they have Omniverts as well. He says, I think Omnivert fits me more. Now, Dylan says, I'm introverted, but I can be extroverted. So Tuesday this week, I went to a party that my healthcare place held. Said I had a cab driver that I had before, and she unlocked my socialness for the day. Well, that's good when you can kind of warm up with a friendly audience that kind of says, "All right, yeah, get you into that." Like if I know I'm going to be talking a lot or being social, I will actually try not to do things that really encourage my introversion. Like it's interesting teaching publicly because usually what I'll do is if I know I'm going to talk to people, I'll try not to draw right before because drawing is one of those things that really makes me lock into like what's going on in my head and shut the rest of the world out, and it makes me less receptive. So it's actually an interesting challenge to go and do the act that makes me less receptive, but doing it in front of people and engaging people. Difference being is that I'm not engaging them about, you know, what, social stuff, what we do for a living, what's going on in the world in their daily lives. I'm literally engaging with them about the thing that's going on in my head. So, and I'm there with people who are actively want to know those things. So it definitely changes the context. It's here. Yeah. Amar says, after briefly reading this article describing the difference between ambiverts and omniverts, he said, I'm definitely an omnivert. Let's see here. Dylan asks, has it been raining or overcast where you are since we're state neighbors? Yes, it has been raining through most of the week. I mean, it took a break. I think it was kind of raining the same everywhere because my folks are in Southern California and I'm sort of in Central California. And for the most part, it was raining in the early part of this week and the end of last week. So not storming, but sort of persistent rain. See, everybody's learning a little bit of something everywhere. See here. Dylan says, I did not know that an omnivert was a thing. And I see a little knock on the door there. Herman. Here we go. It's taking a second to add you in. I don't know why it's taken. There we go. So I've got you in there, and I don't think you're muted. So whenever you want to hop in and chat, you are more than welcome. See here, James says, I would say that I'm ambiverted to a degree. And Amar says, you may be an omnivert as well, Jeremy, since you see how it explains a behavior type. Well, yeah, I could go with I'll check out the difference between ambivert and omnivert later. But for me, I figure you say potato, I say potato. It still means somebody who likes to be by themselves but still hangs out with other people. By the way, if Herman, if you're having trouble with it, oh, there we go. I was just going to tell you that if there was something on my end, let me know. But right. I think I hear you now.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, when I came to I was looking through the features, it was like, yeah, I have all this different. So I got Gato sound capture, microphone communication. I have a whole lot of mess in here. So, but I guess you can hear me, so that's good.
Yeah, it's working. I at some point I need to get back into OBS so that I can show multiple things on the screen once, because the way StreamYard is set up, you can share a photo and you can share your screen, like whatever you're sharing, you can only share like one thing at a time. Whereas I know people like the art casters, they'll have like multiple things up, or they'll have a split screen so they can be on the screen while they're drawn, while you've got the other people in the group. But the reason why I haven't done it is because the whole reason I started using StreamYard is because I didn't enjoy OBS's interface.
Right.
So, by the way, here's a question for you as well, because I see James just asked. I figured that's something we could chop it up. James was asking if I have ever had a dream or nightmare that inspired your artwork, or your artwork has ever influenced your dreams. I would say absolutely yes. I have woken up having nightmares that were unpleasant as nightmares, but reached over and grabbed a drawing pad next to me and started sketching out what I was dreaming. But I mean, I have really, really weird dreams. Like particularly if I'm watching a horror movie or something, that will kind of seep into my subconscious. If anything, dreams more inspire my writing than they inspire my artwork.
Right.
But they do actually I will like dream and think. I'm having hard times thinking of specific examples, because it would be more of an interesting answer if I could say yes and then tell you a story about one time where I dreamt a piece of artwork. But I can't think of any examples off the top of my head. I just know that's happened, a couple of times throughout the years. But not for you so much with the subconscious?
No. I don't know. I don't know. I just never really Yeah, obviously no, because like I don't know, I can't give you like a situation where I've done that. So
So how you been, man?
hanging in there, man. Just trying to do the best I can. That's about it. How about yourself?
Same, same.
Trying to stay out of trouble.
Work has been busy, and it's really slowed me down on writing. It slowed me down on drawing. And I
Right.
did one of those writing sprints earlier in the week,
Okay.
and a lot of it was me mostly just rereading my old notes because I have like a long, long outline document, and it's just
Mhm.
full of so much stuff that is me brain dumping, which is good, but it's
Mm.
like too much. Like too much of it is just notes from like links to Wikipedia articles on different mythological gods,
Right.
ideas for different characters that in the story, or how I'm going to do this with them or that with them, some blind alleys. And it's almost like I switched to the spreadsheet and I realized now part of it was me trying to just burn it all down and just say, what is the story structure in my head? What are the main beats? And I
Right.
kind of got lost in that. And I'm back and forth. I'm going back and forth between just trying to write it all from scratch from my head versus going back and really rereading that document. Because there are some definite bits in that document that I know I want to use, but I don't know how much of those bits will come out in my head if I sit there and try to just build the story out of my head. So I don't know. It's a
Mm.
rough patch with the writing.
Yeah. I mean, I've been coming up with like again like just different concepts. I'm like I've been thinking of a lot of ideas and stuff, but just
Hmm.
like not having got to the point where I need to like actually stick to something and just complete the story. But I'm like I've been actually active in creating ideas,
Hmm.
which is good for me because I've been struggling. So I've been doing that and coming up like I'm like, oh, I'm like, for instance, I was thinking about like two different things. I'll think of something related to science or something that helps us, whatever, and then something else and combine them two together to create a situation where it just blows out into a whole thing where it has something that evolves or messing with like civilization or something like that. So I'm finding weird ways of connecting things and then blowing the position blowing it up to a point where it can be something that can be going ongoing like forever,
Hmm.
just based off of those like two um items, whatever. Or because I'm like I think a lot of the stuff that I like to do is probably based off of science, whatever. Because
Hmm.
I'm such a science geek, whatever, a science nerd, whatever. So I tend to do like a lot of uh stuff based off of that. And then I'll try to throw in like uh real science and stuff like that, but not so much to the point where I still want to be creative and play around but but enough where if somebody was like, yo, can that really happen? Like some of the situations that I'm creating like are like they could really happen. I mean if somebody, was to think about it, it could probably possibly happen, but I think I wanted to actually really happen, like if you really sat down and thought about it, So that's kind of that's where I'm at right now. But yeah.
Hmm. Well, I mean, it sounds like you and I are not in dissimilar places in
Right.
that it's like the fun part is just the initial spark of the idea, but then when you have to come through and start like kind of digging in and really
Right.
shaping it, that, it's not that it's unpleasant, it's just rigorous. It's like
Hmm.
when I going through the figure doing going through in figure drawings, and I redraw it and I'm analyzing it. It's kind of like a similar process, but with story
Right.
and character.
Yeah, I think it's get my situation, as far as like, it's I think it's getting too big. I need to start writing something. Like, I'm creating a situation where stories are spinning off from other stories because of a situation spinning off into another story. Like,
Hmm.
so which is good. Now I think I have enough like material that could probably last me for the next 10-15 years maybe. And then
Hmm.
I just need to now go back to like focusing on like the small story and uh getting the story completed, figuring out, I guess, what the dialogue, how I want the people to interact, make sure that I do research, to make sure that this could be possible, or people could really talk like this in a situation like that, just things like that. And then eventually get to, like, I mean, I've been sketching, but like just mainly just like just doodling and stuff like that. But I think I'm
Mhm.
trying to just eventually I haven't done like any model sheets or anything like that. I just want to get the story completed, dialogue story, like all that completed, and then I'll go into like doing like thumbnails or something like that, and to create the story. And then eventually, if I mean, I just want to have a story completed, and then if I have to revise the story, I can do that as I go along with when I'm creating the thumbnails, getting to the point where I want to be able to do the finished art at a certain amount of time. I still haven't used your Excel situation yet. But like right now, I'm just, again, it's like I try to start working on that, but then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, I start thinking of other ideas and stuff, and I'm just like, nah, I need to slow down. Like I keep spinning off into other stuff and on a tangent of other things, and just keep on. I'm like, oh, this could be this and that, whatever. Like, and which it's, I think it's be good. It's just I just need to. I think I have enough stuff written now. I just need to hone on to like this one particular story. Like I said, I want to probably still do like the Halloween or the type story, whatever, or horror story,
Mhm.
whatever, like that. So again, working on the story, trying to get that completed. Then I can work on the thumbnails and come up with model sheets and stuff. And maybe by next year I could probably start, you know, drawing, trying to get the comic strip together. And then that's why I'm still trying to figure out what type of style. And that was what I've been doing. Like at work, I'm like sketching
Mhm.
here and there, and I'm just like, okay. Sometimes I'll draw stuff and it'll look like how to draw the Marvel way, and then sometimes it just and then sometimes I'll draw stuff and then it start looking like, I don't know, just, I think maybe possibly my style. Maybe I have a style. I think I'm not. I still haven't. I really don't think I have, because like I feel like I have like a memory bank of like artists and stuff that I've like watched and or read books over the years, whatever, and then somehow they just happen to pop up out of me,
Mhm.
like it's weird. Like, I mean, I don't really draw like Jim Lee, but then I know how Jim Lee kind of draws a little bit, but not enough, where I'm like, they can, I can consistently do that. I need to find a style that I can consistently keep drawing for myself. I wish I could draw like Ryan Benjamin, but like I mean, because I'm like,
Don't
I
we
like,
all, bro?
yeah, I like his style a lot, but I can't do his style. But whatever style I'm doing is like, it's kind of similar to the
Mhm.
Marvel way, but it's just um but I need to
I
do more
I will tell
anatomy.
you, I don't think I think that style is really something that it's gonna yours first off, even if you had a solid style, even if you had
Right.
landed on a style right now,
Hmm.
your style's gonna change as you make the
Yeah,
project.
yeah, right.
So
Now, I
don't
was
worry
gonna
about
ask
it.
you that. I was gonna ask you that, like
It's gonna
when you were working on on
I'll
your
tell you
books.
that you can if you look at like the graphic novels I've done,
Right.
you can see that they're all drawn by the same person.
Yeah.
But Eye of the Gods, the first page looks different than the last page. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
can very definitely see that like there was a change in how I drew over the course of that series. Then when you look at Morning Star, you can see that Morning Star has changed between the beginning of volume 1 and the end of volume 1, the beginning of volume 2 and the end of volume 2. So even if you did have something you settled on, what I'm trying to tell you is worrying about finding the right style is a waste of time, because it's going to, no matter what you settle on, it's going to change. And if you try to keep your art looking the same through the whole book, you're going to be fighting yourself that much more and it'll become
Right.
frustrating. You need to
I'm
give yourself the room to grow and experiment.
Dude, I'm already, that's what I'm that's what I've been like, that's what I've been going through. That's why I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, yo, again, because I haven't drew in like many years, like sit down and really focus on something.
Mhm.
I'm more like, okay, if the teacher gave us a project or something, I can finish that project and get it done like that. But like, I'm not a sequential artist. I know that. Like, even it's crazy. I'm not a sequential artist, but I know that I have to do sequences in order to do animation. That's stupid. It's weird, but it's like, I know if I want to make a character jump, I can make
Mhm.
the character jump. I have to, I can have
You
them,
can do it. By
Right.
the
I
way,
do breakdowns and then to the point where the character can go from one thing to the next. But
mhm,
I don't know, for some reason it's weird. Like when doing comics, it's like it's just I don't know, it's a lot of work. It you can't play around with this. That's what I'm noticing.
mhm.
Like, yeah, this sequential art is hard. It's really, really hard for me. I don't
Yeah,
know how these people be like I'm seeing Joe Mardara, whatever that's his name, Joe.
Joe
Like
Mad,
these
Joe
dudes,
Mad.
they knocking out like 4 or 5 pages in less than a week. Like I'm like, yo, how, yo? This is
Well, you just said
crazy.
you can't play around with it, and that's the problem.
Right.
You should play around with it. That
Okay.
is how I mean, I take it I'm telling you what I need to hear as well, which is
Right.
I'm taking the process too damn seriously. Have
Okay.
fun with
Maybe
it.
that's what it is.
You're intentionally supposed to play with it.
Well, I wanted to look
Um,
good. You get what I'm saying?
well, you know what? I mean, here's the thing. First off, thanks, but here, like for me, one of the reasons why I love Bill Sienkiewicz is because I had a hard time early on when I was getting into comics in terms of understand like picking a style. I had the same problem you had,
Right.
picking
Okay.
a style, and then I find this cat who just he's doing watercolor right next to charcoal drawings, right next to photocopies
Right.
of photographs,
Right.
next to a magic marker, and it's like he just organically just pulls in whatever,
Right.
and he's an extreme case. But you've seen comics where some of the panels will be pencil
Right.
and scanned in just scanned pencils, and some of them will be inked panels. And
Right.
they're doing it where like flashbacks are in pencil and forward is in inks. Maybe they just do it by however they feel like doing it. Maybe
Right.
something like outdoor scenes are one way and indoor scenes are another. It doesn't matter. And in fact,
Right.
it doesn't you don't even have to have a process for it. You can just be like, if a panel looks really good pencil, you're like, well, that one's gonna stay in pencil because I think it looks dope. And then just do the next one in ink. You don't have to have
Right.
a rhyme or reason.
Right.
Um, I need to do what I'm telling you, which is experiment more,
Right.
play more, have fun. And to be honest, I really need to do that with my writing. I need to get myself out of my head with my writing so I can get back to the drawing part. The writing is the thing that I'm struggling with more now, and I'm making it too much of a job for me instead of just having fun. So, we're all gonna sit down and figure out how to have fun and
Right.
play. And
Yeah,
I
it's it's too hard. It's like I don't
yeah.
know. I I think that's one of the reasons what makes it so
Mhm,
hard for me to even like to post my work because like I take it seriously. And it's just like and then like I remember when I back then when I was posting the stuff online, I wasn't getting any feedback, if
mhm.
anything. And so I was like, am I drawing right? Am I drawing correctly, whatever? Or what's
Well,
going on?
that's
Like and then but then I had like but then I started realizing I had like a lot of haters on there.
mhm. Well, haters or no haters,
Right.
the idea of not getting any feedback. I had a conversation with one of the guys in my figure drawing workshop,
Right.
and we were talking about the idea of like studying from other artists versus trying to pull stuff out of your head and trying to be original. And he was very adamant that he does not like the idea of studying other artists. But at the same time, I'm like, why? For me, it's not about copying their styles. It's like literally, if you're gonna drive a car, do you want to just get in
Right.
the car and start driving, or do you want to look at the owner's manual? I'm a manual guy. I like to look and see how other people did things and say, oh, let me try this, let me try that, let me. By the way, Amar is not just in the chat; he's on the stream. So Amar,
Okay.
I don't know if your audio is working, but if you want to hop in, you're more than welcome. I know that we're running our mouths nonstop, so it's hard to
Right.
get in there edgewise.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm here. I just letting y'all get y'all thoughts out. So
Yeah, how you doing, bro?
I'm all right.
um, but the point that I was making to the guy in class, the point that I was going to make to you is that for better or worse, no one's watching. Like you guys are here and we're here and we're having a live stream and we're talking, and if we post stuff like I may check out your artwork, or I may check out, or Amar may check out my work on Instagram, or we're looking at each other's work. But in terms of the world and worrying about people judging you, it might sound cruel and messed up, but the world doesn't give a shit about what any of us do. The world does
That's
not look at
true.
the world doesn't care if we do make comics. The world doesn't care if we don't make comics. The
That's
world
deep.
doesn't care if we keep a consistent
That's
style,
true.
and the world doesn't care if we change our style every panel. The
Right.
world at large does not give a shit. Now, that can be demoralizing if you're doing this for the likes and the attention. But if
Right.
you're doing it as an act of self-expression, it is liberating. Like, if you ever heard that expression, dance like nobody's watching,
Right.
that's what we can do with our art, is you literally can just be like, you know what? I don't wild out in these streets, but on this comic page, I get buck wild. And just
Yeah.
be buck wild.
I wish
And-
I wish I can do like when I used to dance in a club.
Mhm.
Like you said, dance like nobody's watching, because I used to do that all the time. If I could do that with my art, I'll be a lot farther along.
Right. Right. Me too, man. I mean, I don't dance, so like you, I guess you better than me. So.
Oh no, I used to dance. I used to dance on top of the speakers.
Oh wow.
I was a house head. I'm from
You was
Chicago.
one of those cats, man.
I was a house head.
I
I
be
used
up against the wall looking at you dancing on the box, like, man.
Yeah, I
This
used
is
to
crazy.
jump off
This
the
is crazy.
speaker, do splits, pick women
Oh.
up, do all that stuff.
Good lord.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
Band in the chat says, "Damn, this hits close to home. I feel
Right.
like everything I draw, I'm fighting my inner demons more than anything, self-doubt and hate."
Yeah.
See, I mean,
I be beating
that's the
myself
thing
up,
that we
man.
all have in common. We all have this inner critic and this inner judge, and overcoming that judge is hard, because at a certain point, all of us have an internal thing that says this is good art and this is bad art. And once we flip that switch and we have that understanding, we always want our art to be good. And we're really critical on the art when it's bad. The challenge is switching from somebody cracking the whip to somebody who's just a coach. You know, somebody's cracking the whip is a hater, whereas somebody says, "Hey, good job, try again, or try this on the next one, or do this better." Something that it's okay, where it's not even okay to fail. The failing is encouraging, because the failing is how you figure stuff out. So, I mean, I'm giving this is like the hype speech I'm giving to myself as much as anybody else, is I need to get myself into the headspace of get it out there wrong and learn from it.
I think you have put more effort into doing it than a lot of people that's constantly fighting themselves, because I would say I'm in that bunch of people that if when you wanted to do this when you was in your teens and as a young adult, and you just said F it, like a lot of the artists that I saw in the 90s when I was around the same age as some of those guys are, it's like, well, I feel like it's not good enough to put out if you just said F it. Because I mean, I used to go to the cons in the 90s and see people there, especially a lot of black people, and I'm like, I was looking at their stuff and I was like, man, I don't want to be in there with my stuff looking like theirs. It looked like crap, but they at least did it. They said F, and I'm gonna put it out there anyway. I don't care if the story's good or what. Maybe they find their audience, but the point is like, you wanted to be. That's why I always had this back and forth with you, Jeremy, about the perfection. I was like, man, I feel like I can't put it out there because the story's not good enough or the art is not good enough. So it's like, if you just put it out there and just see if somebody will like it, you probably would have had the drive to push it more to get maybe more better in the art or more better in the storytelling, and you'd have found artists that have supported you and being able to push your idea out there. The thing is you never know, because you're always sitting in the corner like, oh, I need to improve this, I need to prove that, and then you never get anywhere because you're constantly on the treadmill and you're not going anywhere, not going anywhere. So
yeah, it's hard. It is challenging, and I think for me, the perfectionism really got a hold of me when I finished the second volume of Morningstar, because I am more proud of it than anything I've done in the past. It's the best drawn looking book I've done so far, which is not to say it's by any means perfect. Just I drew it with the best of my abilities, and while there's lots of room to grow, I feel like I was happy with how I executed it visually. But now I almost feel like I'm starting over with the writing. Like I've seen just how much more I can do with writing. And in the same way, I feel like how I did when I first started taking figure drawing classes in terms of getting my art better, that's how I feel with the writing. And literally, that is why I'm dragging my feet. And to be honest, I probably should just say, you know what? Maybe I need to make the story just way simpler than what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do, is just figure out, all right, how do I go back to doing a stick figure version of a, like, because I always tell people, like, if you can tell your story in stick figures, you can do a graphic novel. I mean, there's a really famous webcomic called XKCD, and it's all stick figures, and it's like one of the biggest webcomics out there. If you can tell a story, if you can do characterization and a punchline or action or drama, you know, if you can do it with a stick figure, if you can do stick figures, you can do a whole graphic novel. And I need to get the writing equivalent of that, where I'm really just paring things back and simplifying.
Yeah, that's why I always found that the writing was always more important than the illustration, because I feel like you can always get either better art or you can always hire an artist. The thing is you have to be able to tell the story to captivate and bring in the people. So if you can tell the story, you can write a whole bunch of stories, and the better you get at doing that, you can tell that over and over and over again, and then create a whole litany of stories, and then you can even just publish it as a book, like how Stephen King did. Now Stephen King has a whole ton of movies and other people that can draw his work, but the thing is if you never put out the story, nobody knows that idea that you had in your head that you want to communicate, so other people can learn about this universe of characters and these places that you created in your mind that you want to share with people.
Right. Exactly.
So Chris asked an interesting question. He said, how do you know you're failing? And it's interesting that you phrased it like that, because for me, the harder part is, how do I know when I'm succeeding? That's how I think most people usually find more challenging. I mean, I always feel like I'm failing, and I feel like for me, that's why I flipped it, is in my mind, I feel like most of the time I'm failing, and I'm failing to different degrees. And if I get something, say 50% right, I'm 50-50 failing. But I feel like most of the time I'm like, all right, I'm like, 70% failing, but I got 30% right. Let's see if next time I can get it to 35 or 40% right. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm incrementally moving towards success. I don't feel like I need to figure out if I'm failing.
Well, I have a simple scenario you can use. If you said, today I want to do this, so today I need to wash dishes and I need to clean up the house, and then you don't do it at all, or you start it and you only complete part of it, then you fail.
Mm-hmm.
So if you apply that to your dreams or your goals or something you want to do, and there's something you aspire to do, and you maybe start it, you open up the document and you say, okay, I'm gonna write the story, and you just create and save the document and you don't write anything, then you fail. If you get to outline it and you don't really write anything, you fail. So if you have a goal, you may have to make it smaller to try to get closer to it. But if you're not even making those incremental goals, reaching those incremental goals for whatever it is, if it's for drawing, it's for creating a comic, it's for whatever, then you can easily see where you're failing at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's a very simple thing, is you just write down goals and be like, all right, simply writing down goals, and then are you achieving those goals? That's a pretty easy way to figure it, to at least start a guideline for building an understanding. But Chris, let's see here. Chris also says, I'm not a writer. What is it that you want to make? Do you want to make video games? Do you want to make comics? Do you want to make animation? Do you want to do illustration? What is it you'd like to do? Because honestly, I am a big proponent of learning by doing. So, like, if you want to be an illustrator, I'm like, come up with some things to illustrate. Or honestly, you can even take, like, if you want to do book illustrations, you can take like the top 5 books on Amazon and intentionally try to not look at the thumbnails and just look at the book descriptions and try to create your own illustrations of those books if you want to be an illustrator. If you want to do animation, then come up with like a 10-second, 30-second little, like maybe a commercial. Or if you want to do narrative, then say, what would a trailer be? Like, how, like, as opposed to like the full 2-minute trailers, because 2 minutes of animation is I know, Amar, 2 minutes. Yeah. All you gotta know, 2 minutes of animation, that's a job. That's like that could be a 6-month project. If you're just trying to experiment, you know how like you'll get those teaser trailers that are just like 20 or 30 seconds?
Right.
You might say, all right, I'm going to do like 4 teaser trailers. And you might say, like, so over the time that you would do like like over 6 months, instead of trying to do one large piece of film, you might do like a 30-second trailer for a crime film, a 30-second trailer for a sci-fi, a fantasy, a superhero. You might break it down and just give yourself projects and make these things and simply make them as, this is a finished work of art. It might be in fact, the teaser could be a teaser for a 2-minute film that you actually do want to make. And based on which one is the most popular, that might be the one that you do the 2-minute film of. And then the 2-minute film might be a trailer for an actual, like a 15 or 20-minute short. And, you can build on those things and just build on them.
I'm sorry to jump in. I just wanted to say I would break down that statement that he made. He said, "I am not a writer." Usually, when you put "not" in there, you have to question why you say "not." Do you mean I don't want to do it, or because that really is a question to yourself? Because you say I am not a writer, but you can write. Mm-hmm. Anybody can write. When you say, like I tell people when they say, "Well, I'm not an artist," but when you was a kid, you was an artist. The thing is when the world put certain things in front of you,
right,
and then they put things where they say, okay, you put you in a box and say, okay, well, if you can't draw like this, then you're not an artist, or if you can't do this particular way, once it's almost like once you learn the rules to something, they tell you, oh, okay, you're not following those rules, so you're not that anymore, but you still are that. It's this thing is you have to choose your path. So if you want to be a writer, you just have to learn how to write, but you already know how to write because you have ideas in your head and you watch movies and you probably read some books, so you can look at what you like to write and then break it down into a short story and then write and get good at those and then expound upon that. So I wouldn't say you're not a writer.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has the capacity to write. It's just not everyone has the interest in doing it, and some people just don't enjoy the act.
Yeah, so that's why I was saying you have to break down that statement when you say I am not something.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's just say yeah, I'm just lazy. I just don't want to do it. But I want to get it done. I want it done, but I'm just lazy.
You know what?
Yeah, and that's the same thing I say about comics. I could have been done comics back in the 90s, and I can say, yeah, I'm lazy because of that, because I could have done a comic. I could have done many comics if I wanted to, and failed horribly. It's just the thing is, did I want to do them? And
fail horribly.
Look at them and say, okay, this looks like a piece of crap.
But I did,
at least it's done. At least the story out there, and then you got room to grow and get better. But the thing is, if you never experienced nothing, you took 30, 40 years down the road and say, oh, you know what, I'm gonna finally do this. Then all that time that you had, you could have experienced and learned and grew. It's
crazy. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to make excuses for that. It's kind of like, yeah, it's like when you, but I kind of contribute that to like kind of like the environment, because like I mean I was doing it, but it's like just because I like art doesn't mean like I'm sitting around family members that don't really give a you know what about it. You get what I'm saying? Like when you're around people like that, it kind of like takes a toll on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause you're especially when after you're working on it every day, and it's like, and then when you don't really get to be around other people that enjoy it, or don't even know if anybody enjoys art. Like, I mean, cause back in the day, like right now, what's going on right now as far as like us, like, communicating and stuff, like we, of course, we brothers, we love art, but like, I mean, I didn't even know y'all even existed back then. I wish I knew y'all back then. You get what I'm saying? Cause I probably would have been like so much better now.
Well,
and
the thing
believing in
is
myself even more.
the thing
About
is you have to put yourself in those groups because those groups existed. The thing
I
is
didn't know
you have to
anything about them. I'm sorry.
yeah, you have to choose to be around those people because
Right.
even when I was doing it back in the 90s, I used to work at Kinko's and I used to see people in
Right.
there all the time doing comics and stuff like
Groups.
that. But I
Yeah.
didn't choose to be around those people. Now if I and I went to Comic Cons and if you
I went to a
choose to
couple of them.
put yourself around those people and then try to learn from them or even find a mentor, you
Right.
could have learned what you needed to actually learn more about the business to get in there. But the thing is, you have to say, okay, is this something I'm gonna put 100% in there? Because like people, I think even Jeremy brought this up. I don't know if it was last week. It was on one of the live streams about Rob Liefeld.
Right.
Now when he started out, you know, you look at his work and it probably wasn't the best. But the thing is, he's like, I'm gonna do this
Yeah, that's
and
true.
he found
His
he
way.
found his niche, he found his way in, and he got around the right people and he did it. And even if his artwork is not the greatest, he still did it and he found a niche, he found a way in. People find their way in. Everybody's not always the best draftsman or best at what they do, but they can work or they can find a niche. It's just the thing is you have to put yourself around those people and find those opportunities. But if you never do it, then you never will know.
Bro, I hear you, but it's like it's weird. It's like I hear what you're saying. It's like just, but it's like it's just sounds so foreign. I mean, because I'm like, yo, I'm from an area where like literally like I'm going to work. You know what I'm saying? I'm going like literally. I went to go to work yesterday. I'm never missed a day of work, anything like that. But like just how things can kind of like take you out of like the moment. Like I mean, I went up to the to catch the bus to get to work because I don't have a vehicle, and I'm on the bus stop, and like I went up and I see my buses coming, and like we before I get on the bus, I tend to put on my mask because you got people coughing, like we still living in
Yeah,
the
I do the
COVID
same
area,
thing. Yeah.
right? So I'm about to get on about to hop on the bus because I'm seeing the bus pull up, whatever, and then a unmarked car pulls up and just stops right like where the bus stop is at. And the next thing I know, I look over there, and the next thing I know, a light is flashing at me, and then the light is going up and down my body to I guess check out who I am, whatever. And I'm like, what the? And then it was some other younger dude, and he was like, man, get that so out of this face, man. Who's? I was just like, what's going? I'm like, I know it's like I know what's going on, but at the same time, I'm like, what's going on? But it was the police like looking at me like I'm like, see stuff like that. It's just like I don't know, man. I don't know if it have anything to do with what you were saying, but it's like it just being taken out of the situation. It just kind of like I don't know. I didn't have like people support me like with stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I can say the same thing, but I think that
Right,
the most important statement that you said in there is a statement that a lot of us fall into,
right.
and I fell into, I would say all my life,
Hmm.
is when you look at work, you will bust your butt to go to work
Right.
and you work that job because that's
Need
something
that.
that you can look at as guaranteed. The
Hmm.
thing is you don't look at your artwork or your creativity
That's
or
work.
the things that you love doing as something that's guaranteed.
Yeah, that's true. That you right
So
about
so
that,
so,
bro.
so if you look at something, because I mean, yeah, it's hard to be an artist, it's hard to do all this stuff, but if you look at it and say, you know what, if you had no other choice,
Right,
you had
right.
no other choice, but you had to make this work, and you say, okay, well, if I don't make this work, then I'm not gonna make it. Then it's sort of like how when people move out to Hollywood and they want to be actors. Yeah,
Right.
they have to take side jobs, but they don't get a lot of them don't get some of them give up on acting, but they don't give up on acting and they go through the 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 turmoil to just say, okay, I'm gonna make this because this is what I came out here for. If you said, I mean, I can say me 20, 30, 40 years ago, I say, you know
Right.
what? I'm not going to worry about college. I'm not going to worry
Right.
about this. And I say, I'm just going to be an artist. I'm going to
Right.
make this comic book thing work. I don't know, by hell or high water. I'm going to find someone and make it work. Then I believe we'd have made it work. And the reason why I say that is because when you are determined to do something, you'll do it. Because
Oh yeah.
me, I never thought I would be one person to do code. I used to
Oh
be
word.
a front end developer. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff, but I learned how to do it because I want to eat. And then, it's
Yeah,
just like a
I
lot
need
of
to
other
learn that.
things. You learn how to do it because you want to eat. So if you say, okay, well, this comic is going to feed me, I'm going to make it work. Then we found a way to make it work. I mean, that's all I can say on it. It's just we never did believe in ourselves enough. And I'm not going to say all of us. I'm just say some of us because we don't have the comics and the stuff circulating to say that. But if we did,
Right.
we'd be in a totally different place. And that's why I like when you see the younger people online, the generation millennials and the
Right.
generation Z's or whatever,
They just be doing it, yo.
they just go for it. They don't care if it's bad or not. They just go for it and they do it. And a lot of them succeed because they don't care. And
Right.
the
I mean,
thing
I
is,
get
that's
it.
where you got to be. And now they talk about cyberbullying and all that stuff, but the thing is, you got to not care because a lot of them just go out there and just do it. I mean, look at somebody like what's this guy? Starts with S. I think his name is Speed or something Speedy or whatever. I can't remember the black guy name. It's Speed something. I need Speed. You guys probably know what I'm
But
talking about.
he's
He's a real big streamer.
right. Okay, I got you.
It's a
I
black
know what you're
guy.
talking about. Yeah, no, I think I
And
know
he,
what
I
you're
and
talking
he,
don't know. I've never heard of this dude.
about. Does he always go? He does a lot of. Don't even kind of walk around, just be talking to people sometimes.
well, he does a lot of stuff, but he started out in gaming. Yeah,
Okay,
I show
right,
Speed. There you go. Dylan put it in the chat. I show Speed. That's his name.
right,
And he's huge. And he does a lot of stuff. And it's just like if you look at Mr. Beast, he started out
Mhm.
somewhere too. A lot of these people, they start out and you're like, okay, well, how did they make that work?
right,
It's got to be a little bit of a point in them where maybe they just grew up in an environment where it allowed for them to not care about failing. And maybe what happened is either through inner turmoil or some other stuff growing up, uh, I would say myself care more about failing. And the thing is what you look at a lot of these people you see online is they don't care about that. They just go out there and just do it.
right,
They'll take their camera, take their phone, and get
right,
online and just do it.
right. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I don't know what else to say, man. Where you been at, man? Like I need. That's. I'm like, yo, for real, yo. Like, y'all some good peoples, man. Like, I mean, I wish. Where was y'all at when I was going through this? Like, when I was a kid,
You
when I
know what?
was
I
like,
mean, people
I'm a
people talk
grown
about
old
the
dude now, huh?
people talk about the internet being a dumpster fire, but
Sometimes it can be.
but but I think there really is opportunity to find communities and
It's
find people that are just trying to do what you're doing, and
right,
people who will just say, "Keep going. We're here. We don't
right,
know to have all the answers, but we're figuring it out together.
right,
We're doing it together. If we see something that'll help you, we'll point it out. If we see something where
right.
we think,
It's
hey man,
trash. Be
maybe
like, yo,
that's not
I'm
the way to
sorry, it's
go.
trash.
But
I could
but
take
that's
that,
the thing is like these opportunities didn't exist when we were kids. I was the only like I remember that there was only one other black kid I knew who liked comics when I was a
Right,
kid.
right,
Like I knew other kids, and that's the thing. I ended up having Latino friends, Asian
right.
friends, white friends. Like I hung
Yeah, me
around
too.
all different kinds of people because I wanted to hang out and talk about comics and sci-fi.
Right.
And this was back before that was cool. So I found my
Yeah, I
tribe.
had to go to spots. Yeah, go to look for
Yeah,
spots up in the mall somewhere. Right. Yeah.
exactly. So it's like I found people that were down with what I was down with, and it was sort of like we were all the outsiders from all of our collective cultures. So we just came together. It's kind of like Stranger Things.
That's
It's
weird.
like we came together like we're the kids that are just down with this stuff. And
Now
that's
I
who I
started.
hung with.
I don't mean to cut you off, but when I started thinking about like back in those days, like in the '90s and stuff like that, yo, and I used to travel. I used to call it my kung fu days. I used to throw my backpack on, go to travel, travel like the Baltimore area, whatever, to go to different areas like different malls and stuff like that. And I was sometimes sketched by myself, but like I never really. Now that I think about, it, I never really even told a lot of people that I even did anything or did art like that. And it was like I had one guy that was like, I guess he was a friend at the time. But yeah, I used to go over his house and like, cause he was a better artist at the time, I think he's still good. He does like 3D and stuff now, but it got to a point where I started exceeding,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden I started noticing like behavior and energy changing because I'm like, look, because and then I started getting this like, well, yeah, I learned by myself. I didn't go to school and stuff like. I'm like, yo, I was I went to I went to school to help improve, and it's like, and I can't help the fact that these teachers taught me, the right way how to do a circle or whatever. Like I don't understand. Like it was just not a
Well, I think the problem is
leaving me to myself, like leaving me to the point where I was just like, man, I'm just stop hanging with these fools, man. Like I'm like, come on, I'm like. I'm about the art about it. I'm like, I was trying to get people on like Facebook when I first started going on there, like to try to start. We could start like a superpower like group of artists, whatever. Like
Mhm.
they didn't even want to do that because they just was drawing Dragon Ball and stuff like that. Right.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. If somebody just wants to just draw Dragon Ball, I'm like,
It's fine.
good and God bless, go do it. It's like,
But it wasn't like it was ill will.
yeah.
It was like I just wanted to find groups of people that so we can kind of create our own thing. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And it just that just kind of like beat on me, like just that whole just I'm like I'm not even just I just started just trying to focus on art, and then of course life and stuff with parents and
Mhm.
things and family members like that kind of jumped in there too to kind of like slow down like the process. But I mean, but I did finish in my 2 college degrees because I mean I remember like you said when somebody had that get up and go like yo that was my I was like I knocked that out. I was like, and I wasn't that great in school, but I had the drive and the energy to try to like I was like yo I want to do comic or like animation, like do some stuff like that, and I knocked that stuff out real quick. It's just the other part, the life
Mhm.
part that just started like
The
yeah that
life be hard, life be
yeah
lifer.
life be oh my goodness life be hardened boy, like just tore me up, and I'm just like wow, you
Yeah, I
know
think the biggest issue is we stay too much, or I wouldn't say all of us, but
right
some of us stay too much in our own head,
right
and we overthinking what other people are thinking, or you looking for something that is really not there for you, and you have to create it.
right
Like you said, you going on Facebook and you want to create this. Well, you got to create that. As I forgot what the saying is, a building day will come or something like
right
that. You got to build it first,
build first.
because
Mm,
I've been in a lot of startup things with people before, and the thing is people don't want to be part of nothing that don't like is going to go nowhere. So you have to actually put in the work, and then try to see if it's going to work.
but
And then if it's going to work, then you're going to keep putting in the work, and then people will come. The
right,
thing
but
is
I'm gonna cut you off, but like, but that's the thing. Like I was, and my whole thing was just me like trying to like I wasn't trying to force anything on anybody. It was more like I was like kind of like trying to like to see what different artists were about, like what, and then I try to join it in that kind of way, like like, and when they started having like contests and stuff like that, like who could do this, and I would join in. Next thing I know, I'm like um I'm doing fine art stuff, and then like somebody drawing like Goku, what I'm saying? Like it's like they they were treating me differently. Like it was just
Mhm.
weird. And I was just doing my work, because and just trying to get feedback from supposedly my peers, especially people that look like me. That was just it was just weird.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think with that, even with all of it, it's sort of like
Right.
how we was talking about the same thing with the streamers.
Right.
You gotta create your own space, and regardless of all the other stuff, you just gotta, if you really want to do it, it's just because I like I say with everything, like me, I could have had 50 or more different stories out there already, that I've already written down and started on, and all this other stuff. But the
Right.
thing is right now they just on paper or in my head, or written out in scripts or whatever, and it's just in space. If I die tomorrow, they didn't do anything. It's just dead ideas. But the point is if you don't put any work in, and then try to put it out there, at least see if, I mean, I'll give you an example. Okay, I don't know if you heard of Meat Canyon before.
Me
Meat
Canyon.
Canyon.
Yeah, he's an animator on YouTube. He's really big. He does this real gory kind of animation. It's not
I
the greatest
think
animation,
maybe you have his
huh?
link.
Yeah, just type in Meat Canyon on YouTube.
YouTube. Okay.
Just go to YouTube and type in Meet Kenya. I think it's, let me hold on a second. I'll go in the background. But the thing is hold on, I gotta stop these other ones from playing. But yeah, so the thing is he started out basically doing a lot of videos based on animations, based on like big YouTubers or like little stuff going on in that community. But then he also has his own side projects. You have a lot of other people doing stuff based on animation, based on like now fan made stuff. Now that may not be something that's your thing that you like doing, but the thing is you got to find some kind of entry road in, and that's what a lot of these streamers do. That may not be the thing that they want to do, but they find a entry road in that may be something that they like doing but don't mind doing. I get what you're saying. A lot of people like drawing this Dragon Ball stuff, but that's the age or the thing that inspires them and where they come from. Right. I wouldn't focus so much on that. I mean, you got to focus on what you want to do, and a lot of times these groups ain't for you. You have to create your, like I said, create your own space. You know, I create my own groups, and you know, if you really want to make it grow, you got to do the work to make it grow and find the people that into either what you want to do or like your stuff. But the thing is that's work, and I know it's easier just to join something that's already started, and hopefully people will gravitate to you, but that doesn't seem to work a lot online. And then you can have the best art, the best comic book, and nobody buys it. So it's just, you got to find your inroad, whether it's doing fan art to bring people in, like I see on a lot of these stations that bring in a lot of views. Like I've seen some people do the One Punch Man. They was talking about how bad the new One Punch Man is, season 3's calling One Frame Man, all this other stuff.
Why? Oh man,
you got fans doing fan animation, and they're getting hundreds of thousands of views.
Right,
and all the animation is not that great, but the thing is the animators is trying to bring people to their work and maybe even get jobs. They're doing that to bring attention to what they do, and maybe they'll get work from it. So the same thing, we gotta work to try to find, maybe your way into comics may not be the way you want to go in. You may have to go into it another way, or into art, or whatever it is that you want to do. And that's for me and for whomever else, you know. But if you're doing this just like how Jeremy doing it to put his comic out, you got to do it for you, and you gotta just say, you know, fucking, I'm gonna just get it done. Excuse my language.
No, it's all good.
Keep it raw. Keep it raw.
You just gotta get it done. I mean, I did a comic, a web comic. I don't like it. I probably end up having to redo the art again. But eventually, I want to put something out there. But I tell you one thing: when I finished it, I was happy. Even as bad as it was, I was happy for it. And I'm like, I wish I had done that 20, 30 years ago, because now I'd have a whole bunch of more stuff possibly done. It's just now I just have to find a way to get back at doing it.
Right. Yeah. So, I appreciate that. No.
Well, guys, on that note, we've gone almost about 90 minutes here. So I got some stuff that I got to take care of today.
Word.
But you know what? This is when I opened it up on the Discord and on the Patreon for people to hop into the StreamYard. Yeah. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
Word.
I wanted to have it to be a space where, honestly, just have folks come in, hang out, talk about the topics, not have it necessarily just be me talking at you guys, but to actually have you guys all interact with each other. So
yeah, I appreciate you, Amar. Definitely, Jeremy. You know, I appreciate you, man. Like I got your books and everything, man. Like this, this is a good space. Like I'm feeling confident that things are gonna be amazing. I'm just got to take the time and try to find the time to do the things and get it done while I'm lifing at the same time, you know.
Yeah. And it's chipping away. That's the thing, because I'm the same way, where I'm like, unless I can go all in, I don't want to start.
Right.
But sometimes you got to just say, all right, all I'm going to get is 20
2
minutes
hours.
today. No, not even 2 hours. You only going to get 20 minutes today. And because stopping the creative act when you haven't even built up momentum yet can be sometimes like there's something emotionally and spiritually painful about stopping when you haven't even gotten into the flow of it yet.
Right.
But sometimes you got to make yourself I'm just going to chip away at it a little bit at a time, because otherwise, if you say I'm going to wait until I have 2 hours or 3 hours, then it's like that may not come for a week at a time. And then you're only touching the creative once a week, and you got to do it more than that. So it's like,
that's why I'm sketching at work. Like every time, like every little 15, 20 minutes that I do have that's open out, I'll do a little sketch, whatever, just to keep my hand moving and ideas flowing and stuff like that. Until I can start working on an actual project, like finish, like to do a comic or something like that. So
yeah, I would say before we close out, just do a 1-page comic.
That's an idea. I mean, I've been trying to think about how to maybe even do that with the Pandora's Box story. If I can, instead of doing it as a single issue, to try and do it, and maybe it'd be hard to do it in a 1 page, but maybe to do it as
if you think of it in an episodic nature, like how they do with TV or newspaper, you can do it in 1 page. Yeah, because you have to start, middle, and end for each page.
Well, I mean, what I'm thinking is like if I can turn mine into a 4 6-page stories and do it so that the whole story builds, but in little chapters. But I mean, to Amar's point, yeah, if I can, like, for anything, just starting with saying, all right, yeah, just doing everything as 1 page, just do it, and it's done, and then move on to the next thing. Like, my problem is I keep thinking in big multi-chapter stories.
Me too.
But I would like to, if it weren't for the fact that I had this story up next, I want to shift over to what Amar's talking about, where I'm doing stuff in quick hits and
like I was some like 4 panels, 3 panels, or something like kind of like an old school like newspaper type deal, like that. That may work.
But think of it like this: when you write your story is broken up into beats. And your beats have beats inside of those beats. So if you think of it as beats and you think of it as like a script, every script, 1-page script is a minute. So if you do a minute of screenplay is 1 page. If you think of this story, like this panel that Jeremy has right there, that's telling a story. So you say, okay, at the beginning of this is telling one thing, in the middle of it is giving something else, and at the end of it, that's where it's closed. And if you ever remember the old cartoons or whatever, they used to say, like at the end, on next week's show or something like that. That's basically what you're leaving. And they used to have that in the comics too. Like to be continued. You can have the same thing because that's what people do online too. And you can say, okay, well, I'm giving you this little bit. And it's almost like how you do with teasers, But unfortunately, with teasers or some of these trailers now, they give you too much. But if you're giving them enough, whereas you say, okay, this is the start of it, you capture them with that first image, and then you give them a little bit of the meat inside the middle, and then you end on this cliffhanger and say, okay, you got to go to the next page. So you're gonna have to wait till next week or wait
exactly
in a week or whatever to see this next page. So you got to start with the thing to bring them in, give them a little meat to savor on, and then have this cliffhanger at the end and say, okay, if you want to know what's going to happen when I do the next page, you got to come back.
Right. I got you. Yeah.
And I'm just saying this, we talking out loud, but I need to do the same thing as well. So I've been working on 1-minute stories, which Jeremy already know, and I share some with him. But I've been wanting to do that for animation too, to do like a 1-minute story.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back into it. Like I went to school for it, but like I understand the whole like how to go about it, but just I haven't did any animation because it's just it's so time consuming and like it's a lot. And
yeah, but the thing is, the more we say it's a lot, it's gonna keep being a lot.
It's always going to be a lot. Well, I mean, all of us are saying the same thing, which is keep going and make the project smaller. Both of we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah,
we're also all in agreement that we all want to do shit that's way too ambitious.
Right.
And
Adam Phillips
finding that balance, that's the hard part.
One bite at a time.
Adam Phillips. He does like I did his FX animation course before, and he does like he used to do like these little 30-second clips of animation, whatever. He does the animation called Bitey. Bitey, you ever went to Bitey.com? Yeah, he streams on Twitch still. And yeah, this guy was amazing. Like, he was doing like because he worked for Disney at some point. I think he was in another part. I don't know if it was Australia or something like that. But yeah, he would I remember seeing him on Newgrounds back. Remember Newgrounds back in the day? We used to watch the little video clips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I sent you the link too, Herman.
Yeah, I already pulled it up because I already subscribed to him. I've been subscribed to him. Like I was like, I subscribe to so many people while I'm on YouTube. But yeah, I've been had him though. Just been a minute. I forgot his name. I haven't seen his work, and it's like he haven't been on here in a minute, like 6 months or something like that.
Yeah, he did this last one shared with Jeremy that looked like a horror movie. So
okay,
pretty. So.
Okay.
Okay, guys,
man. Appreciate that. I appreciate this whole atmosphere, man. Thank y'all, man. Thank you.
Well, I'm thanking you because originally when I started this, it was just to stay in front of people,
right?
While it was taking me way too long to make my comics,
right?
And it's grown into what I was hoping, which is a community of creatives that are encouraging each other. So. Thank you for being part of it and for participating. And that goes out to everybody in the chat as well. Like, you guys are fam and you guys encourage me. And I hope that I'm encouraging all of you guys as well. And to have Amar and Herman together also encouraging you guys as well and encouraging me and encouraging each other. This is it. This is what we do.
It lifted my spirits, yo. It lifted my spirits a little bit. It feels good.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I came into this a little bit today like,
right?
Like, I actually came in a little bit low. I try not to like bum anybody out, but I came in with that same feeling where I'm like, I'm not anywhere I'd like to be in any of the phases of any of my projects.
Right. All right, before we wrap up, how about homework then?
Homework. Okay, wow, we're okay. Homework. You know what?
So for the people that's watching and for the people that's talking, how about this? You take whatever it is, you're gonna do animation, you're gonna do story, or you're gonna do comic, and you're gonna, if it's not gonna be a full page, even if it's half a page, or if it's 3 panels, even if you, I can't remember the name, I shared it with you before on IG, the comic strips they do with stick figures, even if it's something like that. Let's say next time you have a stream, we're gonna have something simple done, however it is, in the rawest form or whatever. We say we're going to do either 1 or 2 or 3 panels, whether it's a story, whether it's a comic, or whether it's whatever it is. And then if
it's animation, it's storyboards, maybe just 3 panels of
storyboards. And we can share it.
Okay. All right.
3 or 4 panels or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever it is.
Okay.
All right, and if it's rough thumbs, then it's rough thumbnails. You don't matter what it is. Come with some. If it's writing, and if somebody in the audience is a writer, come in with 3 panel descriptions written. That's it.
Okay.
It can be write 3. If you're on the writing side, write 3 sentences and bring them sentences.
All right,
guys. I'm gonna do the little closeout spiel with my work. All
right.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you, man. So much.
Too,
I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for participating, and for y'all hanging out in the chat. For anybody watching later, if you enjoy these live streams, we like to get additional bonus live streams twice a month. You can become a Patreon subscriber for as little as $2 a month. Head over to patreon.com/Jeremy. It's patreon.com/GERIMI. If you'd like to get a free digital sketchbook or work in progress animated GIFs, blog posts about what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what's inspiring me creatively, sign up for my free newsletter at substack.com/@Jeremy. And if you'd like to purchase physical copies of my comic books or if you read digitally on Kindle, you can go to amazon.jeremy.net. They'll forward you to my Amazon author page. You can pick up books like my first comic. It's a standalone graphic novel called Eye of the Gods, psychological thriller about a man cursed with visions he cannot control. My most recent project, Morningstar, It is a retelling of Lucifer's Fall from Heaven as a Western. It was originally published as an 8-issue comic book series. Volume 1 contains issues 1 through 4. Volume 2 contains the conclusion, issues 5 through 8. Both have extensive back matter, thumbnails, page layout, script excerpts, and more. I basically show you how I put the entire comic book together. And if you go to the homepage of my YouTube channel, scroll down to flip throughs. There are book flip throughs of all these comics, so you can see what's inside before you pick them up. You can also pick up my art book, Wound, The Art of Jeremy Burley, Volume 1. It's got a collection of some of my favorite illustrations in there. And again, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. This great conversation. I appreciate all you guys. I love you guys. You make this so awesome and so fun to show up with every week. And I mean, like I said, I was in a kind of a so-so place today, and you guys picked me up and you re-energized me. So hopefully we can get that energy going with everybody else.
They asking where do you post, like where are we going to post this stuff if we knocking out some artwork?
Well, if you're not on the Patreon Discord, that is a good question. Right. Maybe I'll create a public section for the Discord.
Okay.
So I can create like a public room within it, right. And then so anyone can who's part of the community can hop in and post stuff on there. So
word.
All right.
Okay,
appreciate guys. You. That's it for now. Go be creative.
Peace.
Peace.
Yep. Yeah.